I think breaking patterns are easy, but creating habits are harder. When you want to get rid of the kind of person that people know you as, that's like saying goodbye to one person and saying hello to another person. Like, this is the type of persona and the type of person that you want to be perceived to the world. And I don't think it's as easy, obviously, as it's said, done. But I think when you start creating little things that make it easier, one day you just wake up and realize that you're the person that you were trying to become. It's not something that happens overnight. It's not something that happens because someone told you it would. It's something that you actively strive towards every day to become better at. It's still the 1% better mentality that applies in everywhere in your life. And so I think when you take out the thought of breaking a pattern and replace it with creating a habit or just creating something that you do daily, it has to be daily until it's just a part of your routine, until it's just a part of who you are. But until you make something a priority that way, you're going to feel like you're never making progress. And breaking patterns is simply responding differently. It's not some magical thing or place or trip you have to take and get back from and feel like a new person. It's truly just deciding that I'm going to respond differently when this happens to me because, as I've said before, you're going to get the same test until you pass it. It's like being in school. If you have failed the test, eventually you're going to have to retake it. It's going to show up in a different way when it's time. So if you don't decide how you want to start moving and what that looks like, you're going to keep giving the same answers. So the way that I've kind of started working on it, because there are times where I have broken a pattern, but I haven't fully formed a habit. So it's not that it's something that I do consistently, but it's something that I do. Whereas before it wasn't even in the conversation. So let's take, for example, you want to stop responding so reactively. Someone says something that triggers you. You're like, I don't do that. Or like, how dare you talk to me like that? Or like, what's your problem? Just kind of spitting venom is what I call it. Spitting venom doesn't allow the new version of yourself that wants to speak so gracefully, that wants to think before they speak, that wants to be that mysterious person. I have oftentimes heard people say that they feel like they're so extroverted or they feel like they're such a people person or personality person. And sometimes they just want to be the mysterious person in the room. And so if that is just a trait that you'd like to have towards yourself, know that it's not going to be who you are. It's not your identity, but know that in different spaces and in different environments where it can be applied is where it'll show up as. So if you want to be the mysterious one or the one that people come to, you want to have a high confidence about yourself. You want to know where you want to be first, and then you want to believe that you're already there. Half of confidence is faking it. There are times, several times, that probably your favorite artist or your favorite mentor or just someone that is influential in your life has showed opportunities to you, and you're like, wow, like they just explain this so eloquently. Like they just seem like they don't care about what people think. Everyone to an extent has cared about what someone has said about them or about the work they do or the way that they present themselves. And people deal with it differently. Personally, me, I know that if someone is spitting venom to me, that is just a reflection on how they feel about themselves and their lives. It may not be how they feel about themselves, but maybe it's a way that someone has made them feel about themselves. And so it's not really their thought, but it's a thought that was planted in them. So I always try to look at it from the perspective of, I don't understand what's going on in someone's head. I don't understand what's going on at home. I don't understand what's going on in their life. So for me to think that how they're treating me or how they're responding to me is directly correlated to me is just silly, because we are literally this much of someone's day actually. While it may seem like we're going to work with these people for 8 hours a day, or we are in school with these people for 8 hours a day, or, on a trip or something, there is so much more of a complex story that you will never see. 90% of people's lives we will never see. We see the 10% that they show us. That includes me. what I put out to the world, content-wise, is what I want to show people. There are other times where, personally me, it's tough to get through some things, to think about some kind of mindset, to think about achieving something. We're human. It's gonna happen. But keeping yourself in the cycle of, I'm always gonna be doing this, it's just who I am. Like, that's just me. You continue subscribing to the same content that won't allow you to be the person that you want to be. It starts with your mouth. Then it starts with your mind. If you mind your mouth, then your mind can catch up. Don't say like, I'll never lose weight. I'm a primary culprit of that. Like, there was a time when I had lost a lot of weight, and over time, just as a human, your body fluctuates in weight. And so then when you have an understanding too of where you're having like a struggle or a challenge in, it's not easy to put yourself in that space, but that's the challenge in itself, is how you're responding to when that thought comes. Oh, I feel like I'm not losing weight. Drink more water, walk more. Like, these things are fixable. The thought paralyzes you. It's called analysis paralysis. If you are constantly thinking about how hard it's going to be to do something, or that you just don't have the time, you have the time to watch this video. You could be walking on a treadmill now, listening to this. This causes you no extra effort except to press play and press pause. So that could be the same way on your way to work, or on the way to look for jobs, on the way to an interview. Like, integrate the things that you like doing in your life into the places that you would like to see yourself in life. If you want to eventually see yourself in a new position, go out here and find a job. If what's stopping you is being on YouTube or TikTok and going down the rabbit hole of scrolling, just find a YouTube playlist and drive to where you need to be. You do two things at once, so that eventually you can start seeing that you're putting yourself in these spaces and you're making the extra effort. And it's something that your mind is catching up with you, saying, oh, this is something that they want to do. Like, this is something that some place that they want to be at. But not doing anything at all and continuing to tell yourself how hard it is because you haven't even tried, or you tried and stopped and tried and stopped and tried and stopped. You'll never be the person that you want to be with that mindset. And I don't personally always have that thought first. Sometimes I do kind of like wallow in it, where I'm like, dang, like, I'm not where I want to be. But then I just have to override that thought and say to myself, I'm not where I want to be, but I'm definitely not where I used to be. Like, counter react. I'm not where I want to be, but I'm not where I was a year ago. You know, that's the positive perspective into pushing yourself into a different space. It's thinking about, although I don't have where I'm headed, I'm definitely not where I used to be. Concrete mentality. You have to put that in your space. You have to tell yourself that. You have to write it down. You got to tell yourself that when you wake up. You have to be in a space that allows you to be the person that you want to be. But if you don't give yourself that opportunity, it's going to feel like you haven't made any progress. And the next thing you know, 3 years have gone by and you're the same person you were in 2023 that you are in 2026. That's a scary thought, to be the same person 3 years later. I don't want to do that, which means I'm going to have to get uncomfortable. I'm going to have to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. It's fine. You'll make mistakes, you'll fail, and you'll find better ways to make new things happen for yourself in those failures. They're just lessons. You can't fail at something you've never done, or you can't fail at something that you've never done in a way that it's never been done before, if that makes sense. You can't go to the gym and say, I started a workout journey, and then I stop a week later because you went so hard in the gym after not going for the last year. You have to be realistic too. Go to the gym. The first step is just getting there. Walk on the treadmill for 20 minutes. Walk. No incline, no running. Just because you have the energy doesn't mean that you need to go and expend all of it and be sore for the next 4 days. Make a plan and be okay with knowing that it's going to take baby steps. Baby steps. And then eventually your body builds up the endurance. And it's not just losing weight. This is applicable to finding jobs. This is applicable to stop being so reactive in your relationships. It's applicable to, finding a group of friends. It's applicable everywhere. You just have to take the scenario that I am saying and apply it to your own scenario. Don't let life be harder than it already is. It is so easy to respond to life like, this sucks. This sucks. Stop. Like, literally stop telling yourself that, because you will be in the same place for the rest of your life if you don't start changing how your mind thinks about yourself. Not how other people think about you, how you think about you. Because other people liking you is a bonus. You liking yourself is the prize. So, good to be back. Thank you guys for joining me for the first episode of season 2 of Party of One podcast on YouTube. Follow on TikTok, Instagram, and Spotify and Apple Podcasts for more updated episodes, daily episodes. And I will see you guys next time. Peace.